Today, we are going to discuss the operon concept, regulatory mechanism of gene action. Okay, let us get started. Today, we are going to discuss the operon concept. The contents of this discussion are introduction, gene and gene definition, need of gene regulation, operon and operon working mechanism, types of operon, and the references. Okay, you know very well that several scientists have proposed theories for inheritance. Okay, Charles Darwin explained in his theory of Darwinism or natural selection, inheritance occurs by small particles called genes. But that is a very big blunder. So it got completely failed and it is not correct. So later, Gregor Johann Mendel, of course, before Darwinism, Mendel did the entire work, but the entire work of the Mendel was remained under cover. So the students of Charles Darwin rediscovered Mendelism. So Mendel was the first person to explain the very accurate process of inheritance. So he proposed the principles of inheritance, and according to him, factors are responsible for the inheritance of a character from parents to the offspring. He called those factors as alleles. Every gene has two alternative forms, and these two alternative forms are called alleles, of which one is a dominant allele and the other one is a recessive allele. You take, for example, in pea plant, the tall, capital T, and the dwarf is called small t. Okay, that is the concept of Mendel towards inheritance. Johansen was the first scientist to coin the word gene. Okay, Sutton and Boveri, two scientists, did a lot of work on meiosis. When they were working on meiosis, they were observing the behavior of homologous chromosomes. The homologous chromosomes are pairing and are separating, segregating into each gamete. That means they are segregating into the gametes. So one very important comparison between the Sutton and Boveri theory and Gregor Johann Mendel theory is that Mendel explained that the two factors get separated, and Sutton and Boveri observed that the two chromosomes are getting separated. So we get an idea that what the factors explained by Mendel might have been located on chromosomes, because the behavior of factors and behavior of homologous chromosomes is same. So from that time onwards, scientists wanted to find out what is the actual genetic material. In the year 1928, Frederick Griffith made certain experiments, and finally he came with a principle. That principle is called transforming principle, nothing but the genetic material. So he found something and declared that in this small thing there is genetic principle. So this small thing may be having different materials. So to find out what is the actual genetic material or transforming principle, several scientists, Avery, Hershey and Chase, and several scientists worked on that particular genetic principle and finally came out with DNA as the genetic material. Okay, T.H. Morgan did a lot of work on genetics. Okay, he discovered so many principles what Mendel could not discover. So we need to mention the role of T.H. Morgan also whenever the term or the point of genetic discussion comes. Benzer has given a concept that a gene is having small portions. There may be a recombinating unit, there may be a mutation subjecting unit, or there are cistrons. Cistrons are the structural parts of the genes. They are the structural genes. They are the parts of the genes they are producing mRNA. They are coding mRNA and thereby they are producing protein. So structural genes are the actual genes what we are thinking. But how these genes are functioning, that's very, very important. We have 30,000 genes in our body, but all the 30,000 genes are not functioning at a time. in childhood some genes are functioning, and in the late old ages some genes start their functioning. So most of the genes are starting their function at a particular time, and they are not functioning, or they are stopping their function at a particular time. It implies that there is certain regulation over the expression of genes. What is that regulation? Okay, so to find out that, Jacob and Monod came with a very, very important concept called operon concept. Operon is a cluster of genes that are regulating a particular metabolism. So Jacob and Monod explained the regulation of gene action. Genes are two types. One is called constitutive genes, that are housekeeping genes, they are going on functioning all the time. And regulated genes are functioning at a regulated period only. Okay, and several other scientists like Murray, Barr, Lyon explained about euchromatin and heterochromatin. A lot of research work occurred to find out the genetic material and how the genetic material is actually expressing, what are the expressing factors, what are the inhibiting factors, what is whether they are time related or whether they are controlled by certain proteins. Several work is on the way to find out the gene expression pattern. Frederick Griffith for the first time suggested that transforming principle is there in a particular his experimental site. It is an important discovery. So he realized that a bacterium called Streptococcus pneumoniae is infecting the mice and causing death to mice. Pneumonia, it is causing pneumonia, and finally it is resulting death to mice. Okay. Now these Streptococcus pneumoniae are having two strains. One is called smooth strain. Smooth strain is it is a virulent one. That means it is killing the mice. And a rough strain is not at all killing the mice. It is called a non-virulent. The smooth strain is encapsulated. It is having a capsule. And R strain is not having a capsule. So friends, you just understand a bacterium with a capsule. Okay, a bacterium with a capsule is causing death. A bacterium, the same bacterium without capsule, is not causing death. It can be understood like this. A bacterium with a capsule is protected from the immune system of the host. That is why it is proliferating in the host and causing death. The bacterium, resistant bacterium which is not having any capsule, is immediately killed by the host. That's why it is not causing death. Okay, so he made several experiments, and when S strain is injected into the mice, mice died. R strain injected into the mice survived. Okay, so what is the difference between S strain and R strain? S strain is encapsulated. Okay, capsule is there. So when S strain is heat killed and injected, it is not showing any what is that called death to the mice. So the heat killed S strain plus living R strain together, when injected into the mice died. So this is called the genetic principle. Here the heat killed S strain and R strain is proliferating inside the mice. Proliferating because it is having the genetic material, and that is the transformation principle. And we need to find out what is the actual chemical, because in this in this mass there are proteins, there are carbohydrates, there are lipases, lipids, and there is RNA, there is DNA. What is the actual genetic material is not explained by the Frederick Griffith, but he tried to find out the genetic principle. Okay, Avery and other scientists made a very big contribution. So what they did was a living R strain plus S killed heat strain subjected to protease enzyme and injected, but death occurred. It means that protease is not affecting the genetic material. So genetic material is not a protein. Amylase is not affecting. Genetic material is not a carbohydrate. Lipase is not causing any effect. So lipids are not the genetic material. When the principle with the RNAs is mixed and injected, no death. That means RNA is not doing anything to the genetic material. But you see, when the living R strain and heat killed S strain added with DNAs, added with an enzyme called DNAs, is injected to the mice, but mice survived now. That means genetic material got disrupted. Why genetic material disrupted? Because there is a DNAs enzyme. So DNAs can digest DNA only. So DNA is the genetic material. So this is the experiment. Avery, Oswald and Avery conducted this experiment, but this experiment is a very, very long experiment, and it is not giving complete what is that called evidence that DNA is the actual genetic material. But later, Hershey and Chase conducted a very back-to-back experiments. They took T2 bacteriophage. The D2 bacteriophage has got a protein capsule, and then there is the genetic material DNA. Okay, what is the genetic material here? Either the DNA or the protein. They injected radio-labeled sulfur into the protein and radio-labeled phosphorus into the DNA. Okay, to find out whether DNA is the genetic material or the protein is the genetic material. When they injected different sulfur and phosphorus separately into the what is that called protein capsule and into the DNA material, then they allowed them to proliferate or reproduce. So in the next generation, they could find only radio-labeled DNA, but not radio-labeled sulfur. That means protein, what is there in the outer cover is not inherited, but DNA is inherited. Okay, DNA is inherited to the next generation. As a result of that, DNA is discovered as the genetic material. For their discovery, they were awarded Nobel Prize. Okay, friends, now it is very clear that DNA is the genetic material. By the experiments of scientists, it is proved that the DNA is the genetic material in most of the animals and plants, in all animals and all plants, in most of the bacteria, and in some of the viruses. But in some other viruses, RNA is the genetic material. It is discovered later. How the genes in DNA got regulated. Okay, the regulatory mechanism of DNA were explained by a concept. That concept is known as operon concept. Okay, so in operon concept, while explaining the operon concept, we use certain terms. Okay, we use the genes. Genes here refer to cistrons. The functional genes are called cistrons. Genes are two types, as we discussed earlier in this class. Genes are two types. Some genes are continuously functioning. Some genes are continuously functioning. You take, for example, the genes of our respiratory system. They are functioning continuously. Such genes are called housekeeping genes, constitutive genes. But some other genes are functioning only when there is a need. Only when there is a need, they start their functioning. Such genes are called luxury genes. They are called luxury genes, or they are called regulative genes. So they are allowed to function by some regulatory mechanism. They are stopped by some regulatory mechanism. So in that way, the expression of these genes is regulated. Because the expression is regulated, this is called gene regulation of gene expression. Okay, so genes can be turned on in their expression, and genes can be turned off. So let us find out what is making a gene start its function, or what is making a gene stop its function. That is called operon. So let us have some concept of operon. For the first time, the term of operon was given in a paper published in French Academy of Science in the year 1960. First time the word operon is seen in that paper. And in that paper, it is described that operon is some genes which are working under one promoter, and always the operons are negatively controlling a gene. Operons are negatively controlling, it is expressed. But this is not true. That was the first concept. Operon is always negatively controlling the structural genes. The repressor is always negatively controlling. That was the first opinion, but later it is discovered that the repressors are positively showing positive control as well as negative control. Many examples are there for such functions. Okay, it is not possible to talk a general regulatory mechanism because different operons are having different mechanisms. Because we cannot say all the time repressor is always repressing. Okay, a repressor is always showing negative control or positive control. So different types of operons are there. We are going to discuss. We are going to discuss the concept of different types of operons also. Okay, today what is operon? Operon simply means it is a cluster of genes that are transcribing into a single mRNA. A cluster of genes located on DNA, that cluster of genes collectively producing only one mRNA. So that cluster which produces single mRNA is called an operon. Okay. So what is the structure of the operon we are going to learn, but what is operon? Operon is a cluster of genes located on DNA and are transcribing into a single mRNA. Okay. So this kind of concept is really giving this kind of concept and explaining in what way the operon functions is really a landmark research. Okay. The first operon that was described was lac operon in Escherichia coli, and it was done by, this process was done by Jacob and Monod. For their explanation, so they were awarded Nobel Prize in the year 1965. So they discovered or they explained operon in the year 1961, and they were awarded Nobel Prize in the year 1965. So this is really a landmark research to identify the regulatory mechanism of gene action or gene function. A very, very important landmark research. So by understanding this, we'll get an idea that some of the genes in our body can be regulated as a result of that. What is that? Whatever genes that have stopped their function can be re-switched on. Okay, a very, very important research. That's why they were awarded Nobel Prize. Friends, an operon is a functioning unit of DNA. A DNA is having several units, functional units. One of such functional unit of DNA is called an operon. What are there in operon? In operon, a group of genes are there. It is consisting of a cluster of genes, but all these cluster of genes are not individually expressing. The cluster of genes are expressing under a common promoter. One promoter along with its regulatory mechanism and regulatory molecules and along with its operator, one promoter is controlling a group of genes for the expression. And this entire group of genes, some regulatory genes and some structural genes together known as one operon. Say, according to, we can also say like this, and for our respiratory system functioning, there may be an operon. For our digestive enzyme production, there may be an operon. Okay, salivary amylase production, one operon may be there. And gastric juice production, one operon may be there. So our DNA is having a lot of functional units. One of such units is known as an operon. But what are there in operon? One operon has a cluster of genes regulated by one promoter along with its operator and other regulatory genes. Okay, the genes are transcribed together. That's very important. All the genes are transcribing together to form a single mRNA. And this single mRNA is a product of many cistrons. Many cistrons produce only one mRNA. Such mRNA which is transcribed from many cistrons is called polycistronic mRNA. This polycistronic mRNA in the case of prokaryotes goes into the cytoplasm, goes towards the cytoplasmic region. Of course, there is no boundary. So it goes to the cytoplasm and is translated directly translated together into proteins. So such polycistronic RNA is not subjected to any other mechanism in the case of prokaryotes. But in the case of eukaryotes, the polycistronic mRNA is cut into several pieces and it will become monocistronic mRNA. And these monocistronic mRNA will go on producing their own proteins. That is the main difference between the operon of prokaryotes and that of eukaryotes. Okay, so in general expression of prokaryotic operons lead to the generation of a polycistronic, while in eukaryotic operons lead to the generation of monocistronic mRNAs. And operon or kind of functioning mechanisms are also found in viruses such as bacteriophages. Friends, let us understand what are the components of operon. What are the components of operon? Because these are nothing but a cluster of genes as we discussed. So diagrammatically we have to represent it with small boxes, that's all. We cannot draw the actual diagram of the gene to show you the gene. Okay, an operon is made up of several structural genes arranged under a common promoter and is regulated by a common operator. Okay, it is defined as a set of adjacent structural genes, plus adjacent regulatory signals. Adjacent, you see, structural genes that are arranged adjacent and regulatory signals are also arranged nearby these structures. So collectively, the regulatory signals and the structural genes together known as one operon. Friends, observe the operon structure carefully. An operon is having, what are they? You see, 1, 2, 3. I am describing here the lac operon. Lac operon is having structural gene Z, Y, A. Each gene is going to produce one enzyme that is needed for the metabolism of lactose. Lactose metabolism controlled structural genes. So these are called lactose genes. We can say lac Z, lac Y, lac A. Okay. So to its adjacent there is an operator. Operator is a very, very important point where the operon is switched on, switched off. It's a switching on, switching off point, operator. But how is operator is switched on and switched off is decided by, controlled by a repressor molecule. Here there is a repressor molecule, you see. This is the repressor molecule or regulatory protein we can call. The regulatory protein is having a control over operator whether to start the function or to stop the function. Okay. So next to the operator there is promoter. Promoter gene is having a site for RNA polymerase. You see here there is an RNA polymerase. This RNA polymerase reacts with structural genes only with the permission of promoter. When it binds to the promoter, then only the enzyme action will be resulting in the transcription process. When RNA polymerase has not attached to the promoter site, RNA polymerase cannot go to the structural genes. That's why structural genes cannot transcribe mRNA. So promoter is having a site for attachment of RNA polymerase. Next to the promoter, there is a regulatory section. And this regulatory gene is producing a protein called regulatory protein, which is commonly known as repressor. This is called repressor. Friends, you just observe repressor is having a site. You see here there is a site. This site will be fixed in the another site that is there in the operator. The operator receptor site and the repressor attachment site is so specific so that it will go and attach. Whenever the repressor molecule goes and attaches to the operator molecule, such a condition is called switched off condition. So that the promoter does not bind with RNA polymerase and doesn't allow RNA polymerase to go to the structural genes to synthesize mRNA. So repressor molecule goes and attached to the operator. Okay, repressor is produced by regulator gene. And this is the normal component inside a cell. What are the normal components? Regulator gene and a RNA polymerase enzyme, promoter gene, operator gene, and structural genes. Okay, and regulator gene produces a protein called regulatory protein or repressor molecule. Now whenever some inducer comes from outside, inducer is a chemical material, it's a chemical. In the case of lac operon, it is a lactose. It may be a lactose, or it may be a galactose, it may be a tryptophan, it may be some other amino acid like that. Okay, inducer, if it comes to that particular area, that particular site, this inducer is having what is that called, an affinity. It is having an affinity towards the repressor molecule. It goes and attaches to the repressor molecule. That is its affinity. Okay. Whenever the inducer attaches to the repressor configuration changes. When repressor configuration changes, such a changed repressor cannot bind with operator. So operator will become switched on. Okay, how beautiful regulation mechanism is there, friends. Let me say once again, an operon is called a cluster of genes. Okay, a group of cistrons that are functioning under a common promoter and operator is called an operon, and it is having some regulatory signals also. To the left of the promoter, there are some regulatory signals. To the right of the promoter, there is an operator. Main operator's function is to switch on, switch off. Okay, and so as inducer is playing a very, very important role in the starting of the function, in the, what is that called, in the production of a product. When inducer is there, product will be produced. When inducer is not there, in this case what I am explaining, when inducer is not there, repressor will go and bind with operator, so that it will, function will be stopped. So such a kind of operon where inducer is starting the function is called inducible operon. Inducible operon. It is called inducible operon because inducer is allowing the operon to perform its function. Repressor is not allowing. Repressor is not allowing. That is why repressor is showing negative control, because repressor is not allowing. It is called a negative control. Inducer is allowing. It is called inducible operon. Whenever inducer is there, function starts. So this kind of operon is called inducible operon. Also it is called a negative operon because negative control, because a repressor under normal condition is not allowing the operator to switch on. Let's see, we will understand all these things in the coming slides. So what are the components? We have already discussed. Regulator protein is coding for a repressor. A regulatory gene is coding for a repressor protein. It is expressed all the time. That means always regulatory gene is going on producing repressor gene. It's a constitutive gene. As it's a constitutive gene, it continuously goes on producing the repressor molecule. And promoter gene is having a binding site for RNA polymerase, I mentioned, mRNA polymerase. Okay, and what is operator? It blocks the entire operon, or it allows the entire operon to perform its function. Operator is a site where operon function can be blocked or operon function can be stimulated, allowed. That is operator. Structural genes means they are the specific genes to produce a specific protein. Okay, and inducer molecule comes from outside, and this inducer, it may induce the function or it may stop the function sometimes. If it is positive control or negative control, we are going to see that. And there is a catabolic activator protein site. And this catabolic activator protein site will always allow the transcription to go on. Friends, let us understand how the inducible operon or a negative control of operon works. This is regulatory region, this is promoter region, this is operator region. These are structural genes Z, Y, A. Okay, and here there is RNA polymerase. Now let us come. A regulatory gene started producing a regulatory protein called repressor molecule. A repressor molecule is having two sites. One site for the attachment with the operator another site with the attachment of inducer, but here there is no inducer. Inducer molecule is absent now. As of now, there is no inducer, there is no lactose outside Escherichia coli. In the premises of Escherichia coli, there is no lactose. When there is no lactose, no enzymes related to lactose must be produced. When there is lactose, enzymes needed for lactose metabolism are to be produced. Normal principle this is. No lactose, no enzymes. Lactose is there, enzymes are to be produced. Let us see a condition, there is no lactose. There is no lactose, no enzymes must be produced. That's the condition. Let's see, there is no lactose. When there is no lactose, a repressor molecule is the binding site with the inducer is empty. In such a condition, it will go and bind with what? Operator. So the repressor molecule will go and bind with operator. This condition where repressor binds with operator is called switch off. When it is switched off, promoter does not show its site to the RNA polymerase. RNA polymerase now do not bind with the repressor. Do not bind with the promoter gene. So the promoter gene is not allowing the RNA polymerase to pass on to the structural genes. No RNA polymerase, no transcription. No transcription, no protein synthesis. Why there is no enzymes? Because there is no inducer, there is no lactose. No lactose, no proteins. So here, under normal conditions, this operon does not work. So it is negative. Why it is negative? Under normal conditions, it does not produce any proteins. It is negatively controlled operon. Okay, and it starts its function when there is an inducer. So it is inducible. It can be inducible with a molecule. That is why this is known as inducible, negatively controlled operon. Example, lac operon. Okay, lac operon is now not functioning because there is no lactose. Let us put some lactose in the surroundings of Escherichia coli. When in the surroundings of Escherichia coli there is lactose, some of the lactose get diffused into the body, and this lactose what entered into the body acts as inducer. It acts as inducer. Let us see what is there. When there is lactose, what happens here? Let us see. When there is lactose, the repressor molecule binds with the inducer first. As it has bound to repressor, inducer bound to the repressor, a repressor molecule will change its configuration. Now there is no site open for attachment with the operator. So this molecule, this combined molecule cannot fit here. So operator is now free. Earlier, you see, operator is blocked. Earlier operator is blocked. Now operator is free. When operator is free, promoter attaches with RNA polymerase and allows the RNA polymerase to pass. When RNA polymerase goes to Z, it produces mRNA. When it goes to Y, it produces mRNA. And then here it produces mRNA. All these three cistrons together produce only one mRNA with many codes. And this is called polycistronic mRNA. Now transcription occurred because the operon is switched on. Operon is switched on, transcription occurred. And this polycistronic mRNA now reaches the ribosomes to produce its enzymes. Okay, beta-galactosidase, transacetylase, this is transacetylase, and permease. Y produces permease, Z produces beta-galactosidase, A produces transacetylase. These three enzymes are required for lactose metabolism. Friends, you just understand a very simple reasoning. When lactose is there, lactose enzymes are produced. Earlier, you see, when there is no lactose, no enzymes are produced. Now you see, when there is lactose, lactose enzymes are produced. In such a way, lac operon is showing its control. Let us see another one. How many different types of operons are there? Operons are broadly classified into two types on the basis of the repressor molecule, on the basis of the inducer molecules. On the basis of repressor, it is two types: inducible operon, repressible operon. On the basis of inducer molecule, on the basis of repressor molecule, on the basis of repressor molecule, it is negatively controlled, it is positively controlled. On the basis of inducer, it is inducible, it is repressible. Okay, let us understand it with the diagrams. Inducible operon is lac-operon. Okay, what is an inducible operon? Repressor shows negative control, only inducer shows positive control. Inducer will activate, hence it is called inducer operon. What is the repressible operon? Example, tryptophan operon. Repressor always shows positive control and inducer will inhibit. In this case, in the first case, inducer will activate. Here, inducer will inhibit. Inducer will repress the operon. Okay. What is a negatively controlled operon? In a negatively controlled operon, the operon is designed for negative control. Originally, it is negatively controlling the production. But when something comes, it will become positive. Okay, when lactose comes, it produces. That is why it is originally negative. For example, lac-operon. And positively controlled tryptophan operon, trypoperon we say, tryptophan operon. Under normal conditions, the tryptophan operon is producing tryptophan. When tryptophan comes back as the inducer molecule and attaches with the repressor, the operon will be stopping their function. Under normal condition, functioning is going on. So when the inducer comes, the function will be stopped. So originally positive. So later it will become stopped with the help of inducer. So friends, let me tell you, inducible operon means inducer comes and activates. Repressible operon means a molecule comes and stops. Negative control means operon is designed to stop the function. Positive control, operon is originally there for producing the material. Operon positive goes on producing. Negative always stopped. Under some circumstances, production starts. Right. So let me describe you the inducible operon. Okay. Let us see what is the inducible operon. This is regulatory site and these are all the sites that I have already described. Regulatory site produces a repressor molecule. Repressor now binds with inducer. Because inducer is there, it is turned on. Hence inducible. Okay. Hence it is called inducible, so that the enzymes are produced. Polycystonic mRNA produces beta-galactosidase, permease, transactidase, needed for the metabolism of inducer. Now you see, when there is no inducer, that means under original conditions, it is negatively controlled. That means it is switched off. When there is no inducer, under normal conditions, it is switched off, negatively controlled. Under special conditions of inducer presence, it is inducible. Originally it is stopped, but it can be inducible with lactose. So lac-operon is an inducible, negatively controlled operon. Now let us see the other case, repressible operon. Repressible operon, you see, this is the promoter which is having a binding site for RNA polymerase. This is operator, and these are the structural genes A, B, C, D, E. Tryptophan, A gene, B gene, C gene, like that there are structural genes. Okay. So now the repressor is there. Repressor is there, but inducer is not there. Okay. But the repressor does not bind. Earlier case, let me show you the earlier slide. Repressor, when there is no inducer, repressor binds. But here, repressor does not bind with operator. Repressor does not bind under original conditions with operator. So that operator allows the RNA polymerase with the promoter gene, so that these all genes will transcribe mRNA. These mRNA produces tryptophan. Okay. When tryptophan synthesis has reached to the maximum, the tryptophan itself is acting as a regulatory protein. Okay, now you see the bottom diagram below. The tryptophan binds with a repressor. When tryptophan binds with repressor, then repressor is binding with operator to stop the function. Under normal conditions, it is positive. It is allowing the operand to perform function. Under special conditions, that means when the production of tryptophan reaches to the maximum, the production should be stopped, so that the repressor, after attachment with the tryptophan, is now stopping the function. So normal condition, it is possible, but what is making the tryptophan is repressing the function. Hence it is called repressible. Inducible means lactose comes and starts the function. Repressible, tryptophan comes and stops the function. Repressing means stopping. Inducible means stimulating. Okay, so tryptophan operon is positive one, and what is that? Lactose operon, lac operon is a negative one. Lac operon is inducible. Tryptophan operon is repressible. Hope you have understood this one. Okay, let us have another comparison. So how is positive and negative operons compared? You see, in positive control, as I mentioned, operon is always on. Operon is always on. In negative control, operon is always off. In positive control, what is the regulatory protein? Regulatory protein is the activator. Regulatory protein is the activator. That is why it is activating the operon. It is allowing the operon to perform its function. But when regulatory protein is changed, by binding with another molecule, then only operon will be stopped. So example, tryptophan. Now, negatively controlled operon is always put off. Why is it always switched off? Because the regulatory protein is a repressor. It will stop the function. Okay. Now, when it will become active, the regulatory protein changes. The orientation, the configuration of the regulatory protein gets changed by binding with an inducer. Then it will become on. For example, lac operon. A very, very good comparison. Let me tell you once again. Positive operon is always on. Negative operon is always off. When does the positive operon becomes off? Whenever the regulatory protein binds with an inducer, a molecule. When regulatory protein got changed, it will become off. When regulatory protein got changed, it will become on. So positive control tryptophan, negative control lac operon. These are the cases. What so far we have discussed are the knowledge related to prokaryote operons. Let's see the next one. This is eukaryotic operon. Eukaryotic operon is having a regulatory sequence, just like prokaryotic operon. It is also having regulatory sequence, and it is having some starting point and stopping point like that. And these are all the genes, cistron 1, cistron 2, cistron 3, cistron 4, like that. So many cistrons are there. I have shown here with the different colors because these cistrons which I have drawn in green color, I need to be expressed. So I require these genes to be expressed. Okay, what I have white in color are not at all needed to me. But what happens? So the silencer, this is regulator actually. Regulator, it may be silencing or it may be enhancing, whether it may be positive or negative. Okay, so this is the promoter site where it binds with the promoter. Now what happens? So let us think it has allowed. Okay, now all the genes, no matter whether green or white, all are transcribed into an mRNA. Heterogeneous nuclear RNA, we call this mRNA. Unfinished mRNA is called hnRNA, heterogeneous nuclear RNA. What does the heterogeneous nuclear RNA is having? It is having some expressible ones, not expressible ones. These are exons, these are introns, exons. So only exons are to be added. Now what happens? The splicing occurs. The mRNA, heterogeneous mRNA, now subjected to post-transcriptional changes. In post-transcriptional changes, some of the genes are added to form one mRNA, some of the genes are added to form another mRNA, another mRNA, another mRNA, like that many mRNAs can be synthesized. Okay, here what is happening? So all the green parts got united and are forming one mature RNA. And these green parts are producing a protein. Okay, so what is the main difference between the prokaryotic and eukaryotic gene expression is that the prokaryotic gene expression, in prokaryotic gene expression, polycistronic mRNA together produces proteins. In eukaryotic gene expression, the mRNA what is produced is subjected to splicing and specific other mRNAs, mature mRNAs are synthesized to produce specific proteins. Okay friends, this today we have discussed the operon concept. Jacob and Monod explained the lac operon concept and positively controlled operon, negatively controlled operon, and the operon which can be inducible, the operon which can be repressible. Okay, by the external material an operon can be inducible, by an external material an operon can be repressible. Under normal conditions an operon is positive, under normal conditions an operon is negative. We have seen all these cases. Hope you have understood this, and these are the references. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.